Cage Nation TV is brought to you by Lion Country's rock station 105.9 Quick Rock. Streaming worldwide at 1059quickrock.com.
Let's go. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. Welcome to the Cage Nation. No one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors, no one can drop us, no one can stop us. We are the warriors, no one can top us, no one can rock us. We are the warriors.
Welcome to another episode of Cage Nation TV. Drew Shannon, Albert Cameron, and perfect attendance, Rob Lynn, via the phone. He is not here in person, but he still gets marked for perfect attendance for being here. What's up, Rob?
How do you do?
I do well, thank you. Albert?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be back in front of the camera. It's nice to be doing this again. I'm talking to you guys.
Talking to those guys.
Those guys too.
Oh, us guys?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
Just throwing it out there.
We've got another topic-filled episode today, I guess you'd say. Going to be talking about, well, some pretty big news in the world of UFC.
Well, the world of combat sports in general.
Yeah, with John Bones Jones being stripped of the UFC Light Heavyweight title. And apparently Rob is ecstatic about it. Might want to turn Rob's volume up just a little bit. There we go.
Rob's not the only one who's excited about that.
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
Woo!
A lot of people are excited. We're also going to get into the Pinnacle FC 10 breakdown. Quite a few fights that we want to talk about on that.
Yep.
That, of course, May 9th in Canonsburg, PA. And then we want to talk about the sweet science itself.
There was a pretty big boxing event last night, which I need to fall on the sword and say that if I had paid a little bit closer attention to detail, I might have been able to get there and see it with my buddies there as well. So I will admit that I didn't follow through the way I should have, and for that I owe a couple apologies.
Way to go, slacker.
Yep, I suck.
Drew just called your ass a slacker.
I know, right? That's like the pot calling the kettle black.
How about it?
All of that and more coming up on this week's Cage Nation TV. What?
Before we get into the meat of everything,
Yes.
the month of May, because right now we're filming, it's May 3rd.
Yes.
The month of May is actually the 2-year anniversary of Cage Nation TV. Our first episode went online May 18th.
Really?
2013.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years already. So we've seen fights in 7 different cities, 2 different states, thanks to Rob. And we brought, this is I think episode 44.
And now, that can't be right.
Episode 44, not including the post-fight coverages.
Well, let's not take till the 18th to get this one posted.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, happy anniversary to us.
Yes.
All right. Coming up in just a bit, we'll get to these topics and more. You're watching Cage Nation TV on YouTube. Stick around. Welcome back to Cage Nation TV. Drew Shannon, Albert Cameron, Rob Lynn via phone. And gentlemen, pretty big news in the world of not just not just the UFC mixed martial arts, but combat fighting sports itself. John Bones Jones no longer the light heavyweight championship, the champion. Excuse me. I always make that mistake in WWE calling somebody the championship. On Botchamania all the time. But John Bones Jones no longer the light heavyweight champion of the UFC.
I couldn't be
I
happier.
have a very important question about this. I need an answer right now on this question.
Okay.
If he was stripped of his UFC title and he was indefinitely suspended from the UFC,
Right.
is he still the gram for gram champion?
Yes.
Well, yes, he's still the gram for gram champion.
So
They call him the lead this time, so is he the ounce for ounce champion too?
did he get caught with weed?
Well, there was weed, yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's just say this, okay?
I know he got caught with paraphernalia.
Just to bring everyone up to speed, Jones was in an auto accident. He allegedly left the scene of some reports which are unverified. We can't verify them, so we're not going to say that that actually happened. But Reports say that Jones had paraphernalia in his vehicle at the time of the accident. This has all caused UFC Dana White to strip Jones of the title and suspend him indefinitely. Dana White's not messing around with something like that.
Too little, too late.
And I was going to just ask that. Is it too little, too late?
That's exactly what it is. It's pandering. John Jones should have been stripped of that title when he tested positive for cocaine metabolites after he fought Daniel Cormier.
Okay.
But hands down. Like, we talked about that at length. We could have avoided this entirely by stripping him of the title then.
All right, now I'm gonna pose this question then. Why did, and I know you're going to say pandering, but specifically, why do you think that Dana White waited so long to do this?
Money. It all comes down to Jones had a high-profile fight. Even if he'd been fined for the drug test he found, he would still make money. The UFC still would have made a ton of money on the pay-per-view. Now that Jones is not...
You're forgetting a few key players to this.
Okay.
What also needs to be considered is that the Vegas odds makers, all the money going through all the bookies, plus the venue making the money,
Okay.
the patrons of the venue the workers of the venue making the money. I mean, this is a big damn deal.
Oh, yeah.
And also, remember, the Athletic Commission gets a cut of ticket sales.
It's what, 15%? At least it is in Pennsylvania.
Honestly, I have no idea, but I can just tell you this much. In my opinion, they knew that he was positive before the fight. They could have suspended him prior. However, the media machine, hey, we spent all this money on advertising this fight, all the money that's going to be lost, plus all the money that's going to be made, there was a cover-up in the works on that one.
There had to have been.
So, yeah, and that's the reason that Dana waited so long to do anything, because right now he didn't have a chance to do anything. That there was no, hey, let's brush this under the rug. He couldn't. I think it was Front Row Brian on Twitter that was actually the first one to break it. And, within a couple hours of that, you noticed that all the MMA news outlets were blowing up with speculation of what was going on.
Rob, I think we both know that MMA math doesn't always work. That just because you beat Drew and Drew beat me doesn't necessarily mean you'll beat me. I mean, you would, but hypothetically, we don't always know that's going to be the case.
Well, on any given night, any man can be beaten at a particular time.
What I'm getting at is, we all know that Alexander Gustafsson beat John Jones.
Right.
And that John Jones got to carry around Gustafsson's title for a while. Johnson beats Gustafsson. We don't know that Rumble would beat John Jones. A little more highly likely. But MMA math doesn't always work. I think if anyone got cheated here, it was the fans, because we know that if Gustafsson couldn't get the shot, I think we had a good idea that Rumble was going to get the job done that we were all looking to get done. And now we've all been robbed of that, effectively.
Yeah, and we get to watch...
Now we get to watch Rumble and...
Cormier.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a great fight that's going to be. I'm so excited. I'm just... The jubilation I'm feeling. Oh, my God.
I'm kind of feeling it through the phone, Rob.
Yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah. Am I monotone when I say that? Am I...
Oh, no, we feel the enthusiasm.
Okay.
The enthusiasm is just oozing through the phone. Or something's oozing, I don't know.
I love that. I love that fight. That fight is just so intriguing. We have a guy who's too short for the damn division, getting embarrassed by the title holder, going against a straight-up killer who hopefully stays off his damn back against the Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if the fight goes the way I want it to, and as we know, fights do not go the way I want them to, we will not see a wet blanket party. We will see Rumble tear Cormier's head off.
I think Rumble did a great job against Gustafsson. Keeping distance with strikes. He had the complete anti-Gustafsson game.
Well, here's the problem, though. Gustafsson isn't Cormier.
Right.
Cormier is a better wrestler. Now, granted, I understand this in MMA. It's not wrestling.
Right.
Cormier did a terrible job wrestling against Jones, and Gustafsson, landed more takedowns against him than I think anyone combined did. So I would probably say that, it's a little bit different wrestling a short, stocky Olympian versus a tall, lanky Swede.
Here's my issue with Cormier being announced as going to be like the other half of that title fight now. Every new victory and every new champion brings along a new set of contenders. Cormier lost this shot against Jones. Like, cocaine or not, he didn't compete well.
Right.
And, does that put him in top 3 contention for if the worst goes worse and Jones was stripped? Jones was stripped. I think Gustafsson should have gotten the rematch against Johnson, but Gustafsson was on the card and he got hurt.
It's a little bit of a moot point because Gustafsson is hurt right now. He's out of his fight with Glover Teixeira. So, I mean, do you even just say, you know what, Glover, are you ready to fight Rumble? DC.
I think Glover Teixeira has more of a deserving of the shot than what Cormier does, because Cormier fought Jones. He lost decisively, cocaine or not. I think he needs to go to the back of the line as far as who the contenders are right now. That's just my thought.
Well, we've said this before, and we know that the UFC title picture is always clouded.
Oh, extremely.
Right.
And here's what really pisses me off. We would not be having this conversation right now if Dana White would have done the right thing from the get-go. But no, now Dana White's got a big black eye. The UFC's got a big black eye. Shortly after we got done talking about John Jones testing positive, Anderson Silva test positive, so we have no idea. We have to now assume that all the UFC's golden boys are hopped up on drugs all the time.
Okay, now, do you really think this gives...
The good ones were.
But, okay, so you're saying that Dana White has a black eye, the UFC has a black eye.
They should be embarrassed because they tried to protect him, and he went and embarrassed them again.
Okay, do you really think it's going to hurt the UFC at all, though?
No, I mean, in my eyes, I have trust issues now with the UFC. Is that going to stop the marketing machine? Absolutely not.
No.
Are they going to lose marketing dollars? Absolutely not. I mean,
let's not forget, later on this year, you've got you've got CM Punk coming in, making his UFC debut. They're gonna milk the cash cow on that one for all it's worth.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah, Rob's excited about that fight too.
And the UFC, I think what
you know what they could have done? Oh man, had CM Punk ever had a title? I don't know. I don't follow wrestling. Did he ever have a wrestling title?
Several.
Oh, you know what they could have done? They could have done a title unification bout. Right there. That's what they could have done.
Yeah,
that's the landscape. Right there. Bang.
I hate to tell you this.
Against, go ahead.
I think that was the rumor going around if
Brock Lesnar.
If Lesnar would have kept the WWE title after WrestleMania, he was going to leave and he was going to unify the WWE and UFC title, which turned out just to be a big, huge rumor. That wasn't happening.
Well, hey, you know what? With shenanigans like this, maybe that's what needs to happen. They need to just get together, and unify these belts.
You think Dana and Vince need to sit down and have a little chat?
They just need a hug.
They just need to hug it out.
Bro hug.
Well, the way it's looking right now, I mean, Ronda Rousey's showing up in WWE. I mean, is there a possibility?
I don't even like MMA anymore.
I know. Okay,
I'm gonna find something else to watch. I'm gonna see if I can find
golf.
I don't know.
Golf.
Well, no, baseball season started back up, and I like baseball, so maybe I'm gonna go back to that.
You should watch curling.
Yeah.
There's a sport.
Back to Jones.
Let's get back.
Tacos, you have a problem.
Let's get back on topic.
Back to Jones, though. He's completely embarrassed the organization, and Reebok dropped him. Reebok.
I was going to say, where does the future lie for Jones right now?
The jail cell, hopefully.
Okay.
No, he ain't ever gonna go to jail.
Until the money runs out.
He has more money than we know what to do with.
John Jones was dropped by Reebok. And Reebok was one of his major sponsors from the beginning.
Right.
He was one of the first Reebok sponsored fighters, and they're like, you know what? That's okay. So now, I mean, that has to completely gum up the works with the UFC's Reebok deal with themselves.
Okay, so how much time does he look to serve if he goes to jail?
He won't.
Now...
He honestly, if it does go, I think he's going to end up getting some bullshit probation.
He's going to go to like a Martha Stewart jail.
All right, now herein lies the next question, okay? He's found guilty.
Right.
Serves probation. Doesn't go to jail. He's suspended indefinitely from the UFC.
Right.
After a while, does Dana forgive him for his transgressions and says, hey, look, if you're going to come back, you need to publicly apologize to the fans.
No.
Publicly. And he goes on this whole PR. Do you
remember him publicly apologizing on Fox Sports 1 when he was doing his last little bout of being a little badass?
But what I'm saying is a public relations campaign gonna help him restore his image and maybe get back to the octagon and start fighting, or maybe land him in a different promotion?
I mean,
you know what? A PR campaign worked for the Clintons. You know? So
it depends what the meaning of the word is.
Yeah. What do you mean by is? You know what? I don't think John Jones would actually be able to tell you what those parts of speech are. I don't think he'd be able to articulate that. He'd be like, cocaine goes in my nose, marijuana goes in my mouth. Yeah.
We do need to preface that this is an opinion piece,
You're going
folks.
to see him back in the octagon.
The
Suspended indefinitely until, the hoopla is over with, and until they make sure. This is terrible. I know this is absolutely god-awful to say, but, okay, the woman he hit was pregnant. They're going to wait and make sure she doesn't have any sort of problems with that pregnancy. Because, John Jones is ending children's lives. Well, you can't do a PR campaign to make that better. But they're going to make sure she's all right.
Right.
Look at it. What happened with Rampage?
Oh.
Rampage went crazy and wrecked into a pregnant woman.
Now, he didn't hit her, because, I caught hell for this myself on the internet, which...
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, let's consider who gave you hell for that, and we'll move on from there.
But what I'm saying is you will see him back, and I think they're just going to... And again, I do not mean this to sound awful, but they're going to make sure that woman is all right. But they're not going to make sure that woman is all right for the right reasons.
Right.
They're going to make sure that woman is right.
Let's put a cover up on the black eye.
Yeah, they want to pander. They want to do more pandering.
Yep.
Okay, the PR campaign will work better if there's no long-lasting damage done. Now, if there is some damage done to this poor girl, you know that PR campaign looks a little bit different. So I'm not trying to say that, how do I want to say this articulately and make it that I'm not the bad guy? I hope that nothing happened to that poor child.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Right.
First and foremost, there's
There's an
UFC
innocent child involved here.
Exactly, and the UFC splitting brass tacks over that.
Oh, yeah.
John Jones has to be, because let's say, God forbid this happened. Let's say that poor woman miscarries and she attributes it to the accident. She is going to paint a very different picture for John Jones and his life. Like, she will own that man. I don't think the UFC will want anything to do with him then.
Isn't it terrible,
I think it really
Rob?
depends on the outcome there.
Isn't it terrible that it has to come to this sort of thing, where a child's life might be in danger, a woman may lose her child for John Jones to even be in a spot where he might feel bad and regret his decisions?
Yes.
Like, what?
This is the society we live in. This is society these days. If I was, I'm an old man now, and I'll tell you what, like, to me, John Jones just seems like a spoiled little bitch.
He does.
Like, he doesn't seem like someone you would want to hang out with.
I certainly wouldn't let him
He's a friend
babysit.
that was okay for like a couple days, because he's buying you drinks and buying, whatever. But after a while, you're gonna be like, I don't really want to put up with this guy's nonsense anymore. He sucks.
Right. It's the... There's almost like
If you want to score a key of the best fine Colombian, then yeah, that's the guy you go to. But to hang out on a social basis, yeah, probably not.
We're in a spot
that's
now.
why he sucks to hang out with.
We're in a spot now. I remember 2007, signing every petition I could, emailing Greg Serb regularly, being like, hey, we need to get mixed martial arts as a legitimate sport here in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And then you have the grain for grain champion and the ounce for ounce, contender, completely pissing on all of that. And that's essentially what he's doing. He's this professional athlete who has no sense of consequence. He has no sense of feeling bad. So now, what's to stop Gregory Serb from thinking, I don't want people like John Jones in my sport, and then putting the band right back on? I'm not saying he's going to do that.
Do you
but
really?
it's ammunition. It's ammunition.
Do you really think he would do something like that, though?
No, but what about when the next John Jones and the John Jones after that decide they want to snore up and then run a car into a daycare. It's those sort of things that could happen.
Remember, this is not John Jones' first car accident either. I'm not talking about his cocaine incident he had before. Remember, he had a DUI where he crashed I think it was a Bentley, into a telephone pole.
But let's get John Jones in front of some kids.
He doesn't have the reflexes in the car that he does in the cage, does he? And then this tells you something else too. The people, okay, the way to put this out there. We all know somebody or read a story of someone getting caught while driving under the influence.
Right.
And we all know somebody who has done it several times before they were caught.
Right.
This is not new behavior to John. John wasn't just like, you know what, guys, I'm going to smoke a bowl and I'm going to go drive this car and wreck it. He was like, oh, man, I'm better than the world, I'm high, and I'm going to go wreck. To him, it was normal. This is normal behavior to him. That his acceptable level of behavior is just him to be above the law, above responsibility, above consequence.
No one is above the law.
And I think that goes hand in hand with his celebrity status as well.
You know what? Let's put John Jones in front of some kids, being like, hey kids, while you're young and impressionable, I'm John Jones, former UFC Light Heavyweight Champion. I'm pretty sure I just killed a little kid, and I can't get behind the vehicle of a car without consulting my cartel first.
Now, what did I tell you the last time we talked about John Jones?
That you hate him.
I said that, I say that regularly. I said that I would not want to be the parent whose child comes home and says, yeah, I like John Jones.
I'm not advocating child abuse, Rob, but if my kid ever come home and said, I want to be just like John Jones, I might have to kick him out of the house.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta smack them.
Wow.
I would support my kid, no matter who he likes. But
you slated this segment for 25 minutes. I think I honestly,
as a parent, he would choose a better role model.
I honest to God think we should have cut this segment short than 25.
Regardless of John Jones is out. The UFC. He's out. He's no longer UFC Light Heavyweight Champion, and he's indefinitely suspended.
All right, which means that suspension could be lifted at any given time.
It could be lifted tomorrow, but the fact is, right now the UFC Light Heavyweight division has moved in another direction away from Jones.
Well, let me put it to you this way, because I know Drew wants to move on. Okay, to me, the UFC's indefinite suspension would be akin to a WWE indefinite suspension. It's meaningless. It's pandering.
Right.
Now, the WWE one's not pandering. The WWE one would be for entertainment. But the UFC suspending Jones, that is pandering. That is pandering to the people that like us, that have been saying, look, John Jones is a piece of garbage, and he showcased this more than one time.
Right.
People do make mistakes. Yes, people screw up. We all have done a few things that we could look back. You know what? Man, I really screwed up. But at the end of the day, people that behave like this continually, repeatedly, and have a continued track record for piss-poor performance as a human being, you will not see that change.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rob. But right now, the UFC Light Heavyweight division is moving away from John Jones. And,
Good. You know who should be the champ? I'll tell you who should be the damn champ. Even though he lost to Rumble,
Gustafsson.
In my mind, damn it. Why can't it be a Gustafsson-Rumble rematch?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why wasn't it Gustafsson versus Rumble? I mean, I would feel better with Rumble versus Cormier if Gustafsson had been in the spot first and then he got hurt. And then he had to replace him with Cormier. I'd be satisfied with that. Right now, I couldn't agree less with Cormier versus Rumble with that being the first shot. Rumble, yes, because he was next in line for Jones. And Gustafsson was the one who pretty much got robbed in this fight with Jones. I thought it should have been those two. And
I agree with you, but I think that I do think that I can sense the urgency here that Drew wants to move on to our next topic, right?
Well, no, I'm just saying it. Just trying to figure out how we can fill this topic for 25 solid minutes.
Well, we got 4 minutes left.
Yeah, we can continue.
Okay, good. All right,
just keep going.
So we got 4 minutes. Well, with that 4 minutes, I just want to say, like, the UFC light heavyweight division took a big hit with this one.
Right.
Because all those guys are lining up training like, man, I'm going to be the one who takes out Jones. It's going to be me. Glover Teixeira had to be thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Anthony Johnson. Alexander Gustafsson had to have been thinking, how am I going to get into the right headspace to take back what was stolen from me by the judges.
Right.
With John Jones doing what he did and being ousted the way he did, now it kind of shakes the UFC Light Heavyweight division up, but I really think that the UFC Light Heavyweight division is going to be better for it.
No, I agree with you, but here's the, you highlighted on all the fighters that are training to fight John Jones.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, and I get this, people talk about, I had a training camp for so-and-so, and they back out of the fight. Now I have to train for a completely different fighter.
Right.
The thing is, if you're training for John Jones, this pains me to say it. When you're training for John Jones, you're training for the best fighter there is on the planet.
Right.
You're training for a badass. And so the people, it's not like, I trained for John Jones and now what do I have? It's they train for John Jones and now they don't have to listen to this namby-pamby whiner nonsense.
I agree with that, Rob. And here's the thing that's really kind of sickening about it. John Jones is the single greatest UFC light heavyweight since Chuck Liddell. And now
put it this way. Now let's play devil's advocate.
Okay.
And I don't want to see John Jones come back. I want to see him go play in traffic. But let's be real here. Let's say John Jones comes back and he has all these title defenses, and he's been, a legit badass. He gets back in. He obviously, he's going to get one tune-up fight, or he'd be thrown right into a title shot because we know the UFC title picture is even less meritorious than the WWE title picture. And that should tell you something if I'm giving a compliment to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But, he comes back, he starts winning fights again. Do we say, yes, he's still the most dominant champion that we've ever seen in the division? I mean,
he does until someone else comes along and does what he does, but better.
No, he does until he gets in trouble with the law again.
Well,
that's the right answer.
I mean, do we not agree that Mike Tyson is the baddest man on the planet?
Oh, my God. Yes.
Okay. Mike Tyson went through some pretty dark legal troubles, did he not?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to admit it because I don't like Jones's character, but until someone comes along who's badder than John Jones, he could go pump gas, but he's still going to be known as one of the baddest light heavyweights of all time until someone dethrones him. Same thing with Chuck Liddell.
Now, what about, let's draw a parallel, because look at what Jones has done to his people, what he's done to these fights. And I get it. Let's take Gustafsson's title out of the picture. Let's say that fight didn't happen.
Right.
We all know how I feel. I feel Gustafsson was the champ because Rumble beat him. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Was he as dominant a champion as Anderson Silva? Because, look, Anderson Silva has an impressive highlight reel. But if we really analyze it, he knocked out Forrest Griffin backing up with a jab, but that was in another weight division. He lanced open James Irvin in another division. In his division, you could look at some of the really bad title defenses, such as the Talis Lightis, the Patrick Cote, and Damian Maya, I believe, were all the embarrassing ones. That, they weren't dominant displays. They weren't anything that was anything special. But if you look at every John Jones fight, they've all been fantastic.
Rob, you're right. And that's what we're that's the legacy he leaves. Unfortunately, he's got cocaine all over that legacy too.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna have to leave that as the last word. Coming up next, we're gonna get into a bit of a preview of the Pinnacle FC 10 card happening May 9th in Cannonsburg, PA. We're gonna talk about.
We got 1 point.
What's that?
1 point. I don't like John Jones. Okay.
I had no clue. I thought you were president of the John Jones fan club.
I was.
chicken in every pot and a gram up your nose for, whatever. Anyways, Pinnacle FC, we'll talk about them here in just a bit. We are watching Cage Nation TV on YouTube. Stick around.
Planet Aries Records. Independent music from our amps to your ears.
Welcome back to Cage Nation TV. Drew Shannon, Albert Cameron, Rob Lynn via phone, and somehow we shifted things here, but it's the name of the game every so and now and again. You gotta just roll with the changes. I don't know why we switched camera angles, but I guess this one's a lot better, I guess, so. Agreed?
Yeah.
Okay, Rob doesn't know, he's on the phone. The hell with Rob. All right. Coming up on May 9th in Canonsburg, PA, Pinnacle FC. Where in Canonsburg is this fight?
Yeah, Isoplex.
At the Isoplex.
Yeah.
I think it's at the Isoplex.
Yeah, the one we went to when you went to Pinnacle.
Yes.
Same one. The sports.
Okay.
Sports arena.
All right, love that place. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got quite a few fights on the card that we want to talk about. That you guys are going to give your opinions on.
Yep.
Let's start off right now.
Okay.
Dan Kikuta taking on Jesse Murray.
Love it. I think Dan Kikuta is about to get ready to get on a big tear.
Kikuta by strikes.
Oh, Kikuta by knees.
Or elbows.
Or elbows. Kikuta.
Or head kick.
Just Kikuta. Kikuta's going to win.
Kikuta trains out of.
One on Kikuta. And that's no disrespect to his opponent.
No, not at all.
Kikuta's riding a big wave of hype, and he's going to back it up.
Well, it's not even so much hype. It's the positive winning momentum does count for something when you're training and you're fighting. It really does count for something. Kikuta turning pro was one of the best things he could have done, especially for his style, because now he has 8 different weapons that he can use. And I'm talking about 2 elbows and 2 knees. I guess that's 4 weapons. The 8 points of contact.
One.
Well, it's the 8 points of contact.
You know he has 2 hands and 2 feet too, right?
Yeah, it's the 8 points of contact. What I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So he has, his hands,
2,
feet, is
4,
up.
6, 8. Who do we appreciate?
Kikuta?
Cover. He can't count.
But Dan Kikuta is clearly riding a big wave of momentum. I love his opportunities. Every time I've ever seen Dan Kikuta fight, it's always something special. From the first time I saw him fight, where he broke his hand in gruesome fashion.
Right.
Rob, were you there whenever Dan Kikuta fought and his opponent had him in a standing omoplata?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. His opponent had him. I think that was your first fight with us.
I don't know.
Okay. Kikuta's opponent had him in a standing omoplata. And he fought out of it.
Right.
He's knocked Brandon Lux out. No. He might have. But anyway, he takes Kyle Dunmeyer and completely knocks him out cold with one of his knees. Him turning pro opens up a brand new set of rules for him. And I think he's going to continue on that winning momentum.
All right.
Yeah. Kikuta by strikes.
Kikuta by strikes?
Yeah, that's all I was saying. Kikuta by strikes. I think that, and this is very disrespectful to his opponent. The opponent's a good cat too. But Kikuta, he just, I'm just going to say it like this. He's a badass and he backs it up.
But a really nice badass to talk to. Like, he's very humble.
Oh my gosh, he is such a polite individual.
He's so very humble. Like, if I were able to do what Dan Kikuta does, I would walk around with the middle finger extended at all times, because who's going to stop
you like John Jones?
But he's so humble and so polite. Like, he's such a nice guy.
You know what? Maybe we have another career option that Kikuta could have. Maybe Kikuta could go teach John Jones how to be a decent human being. And this is, I've had maybe 6 minutes of personal interaction over a few different times with Dan.
Yeah.
Always polite, always cordial. It's one thing when you meet someone one time and they're nice, but when you meet someone continually and they're always a pleasant individual, that just tells you that they're good individuals, and Kikuta's that guy. So Kikuta by strikes is my pick.
All right, let's get on. Albert, your pick as well.
Oh, I'm not picking.
Oh, okay.
I've learned because I've learned early in my career. I don't pick. I don't pick fights because there are too many variables. There are too many ifs.
Right.
I have an idea where I think the fight's going to go, but I have learned to just not put myself out there with making picks because there are too many variables, and then I kind of look like an idiot.
Okay, Drew, so he thinks that Dan Cacuto's not going to win.
No, I didn't say I didn't think he was going to win. I'm just not putting out the official pick.
All right. Next, Juwan Dirty South Owens taking on the Death Star, Kama Worthy. Both of these fighters we know.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Because both Kama Worthy and Juwan Owens know how to throw hands. They both have good ground credentials. And both of these guys just like to scrap. Like there are some fighters you know that are just they go in there and be tentative because they want to try to last around because they have too much to lose. Mm-hmm. I can't say that I've ever heard anyone say that about either Kama Worthy or Juwan Owens.
Right.
They both go in there, they throw hands, they try to take it out of the hands of the judges, and they try to take fate into their own fists. That's what makes for exciting fights.
It's going to be a decent fight. Rob?
Well, I've had the pleasure of seeing both of these individuals fight. I think Kama's a little bit younger than Juwan. I'm not sure.
Not by much, but he's younger.
I know that Juwan has a little bit more experience, at least if I'm recalling this correctly. And so with experience, you get two different things. You get, obviously, the ability to be a better fighter. And also, conversely, that can make you a fighter that learns some bad habits that you haven't unlearned yet, so to speak. But you also, there's just something to be said about the guy who's been in there more.
Right.
But Kama brings such an energy, such a vibrance to it, and a pace, And look at the guy; he's absolutely shredded. His cardio is great for days. So, this is going to be a great action-packed fight.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rob. Now, first time we saw Juwan Owens fight, was it CDMMA 4? Was it 4 or 3?
For you guys, maybe.
Where did you see him fight at, Rob?
Oh, hell. Let me look at his record here, and I'll tell you where I've seen him fight before.
I think the first time I ever met Juwan Owens was either 3 or 4.
It was at Complete Devastation that I remember introducing Juwan Owens.
Or it might have been...
I just can't remember specifically when.
You met him at 4, I met him at 5. That's what it was.
You know what? That's what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
That's what it was, because he was...
Juwan Owens was in Johnstown.
And Juwan Owens was in the main event of the Johnstown card.
Yes,
that's
it was.
right.
Okay. So then... He's another guy who's very entertaining to watch because he's got a lot of charisma about him.
He does. Very charismatic.
Whenever it comes to selling tickets and...
Wait a minute. Did Kama Worthy just lose a fight? According to
Virginia Strikeoff.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah, I didn't even know that took place. No kidding.
He's fighting again for... I believe he might be fighting again for Strikeoff. I've got to get an updated card from them, but I think he's fighting in June in Virginia. Incidentally, that's the card that I'm going to be ring announcing for. I will be cage announcing...
In Virginia?
In Virginia. That'll be on GoFightLive.com or whatever that is.
GFL.TV.
GFL.TV, and it'll be on the Comcast network rebroadcasts at another time. So, free plug in there for me.
Look, he was getting too big for his britches, Rob. You see that?
Well, yeah, we learned it from you.
Yeah, that's true.
I learned it from you, Albert. I learned it from watching you.
But... back to my point, whenever it comes to selling tickets and being emotionally invested in a fight, having that charisma is a good thing to have.
Oh, absolutely.
Kama Worthy has the same equal charisma. So seeing these two boisterous individuals coming together, that is one of those things that has a recipe for a great fight. It could be a snooze fest. There's always that opportunity that it could suck.
I don't think it will.
But I highly doubt that it will.
It's not going to suck. This is going to be a really good fight.
It's going to be an extremely good fight.
All right, the Pride of Bloomfield, Mark Jericho, break down the walls of Jericho versus Darby Demolition Halfordy. What do you think, guys?
Well, I think that Pinnacle FC has been continually testing Jericho. Mm-hmm. They certainly don't want him resting on his laurels as a guy who's being protected. John Jones. Anyway, so they've been testing Jericho. Last time I saw Mark Jericho fight in person was against Brady Hovermail, and he goes in there and scraps. I have never seen a building of people come that unglued like they do for Mark Jericho.
Yep.
And Mark is he's a finisher. He goes out there trying to finish fights. Doesn't always happen the way he wants, but he goes out there and he tries 1,000% every time. I wish I knew more about Hafferty. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that information is out. Yeah.
Hafferty, he had a pretty good amateur career. I think he had 2 or 3 losses as an amateur.
Okay.
But a lot of his wins were decisions. I think only a few finishes. And as a pro, he's fairly new. He's had 1 finish and 2 decisions. And I think one of them was contentious.
Okay. The problem with stats are they kind of paint a picture, but they don't count for the other variables that go in. Like, does travel time affect a guy's cardio? Did his day job not create for enough time for him to train? Did X, Y, and Z happen and he didn't prepare for A, B, and C?
Right. The weight cut, his hydration,
exactly,
anything, or how he felt when he woke up that morning. Was he sick?
Right.
No,
you're absolutely right. I mean, all those things could have played a different part of it.
Right.
So, I like Jericho's chances. Mark Jericho is one of a few guys who are from the Pittsburgh area who's going to be trying out for the Ultimate Fighter house here soon.
I say he's making a name for himself. I'll tell you what.
He is. And there's going to be these kind of fights that Mike Goldberg and Joe Rogan are going to look back on and be like, when Mark Jericho fought Hafferty in Pittsburgh, like.
And the most important thing is we can say that we saw him when he was starting out.
That opportunity exists for everybody who watches Cage Nation TV. You can always go see those fighters before they become stars. How many times didn't we see Chris Dempsey fight, and now he just got a huge win in the UFC middleweight division?
There you go.
And all you had to do, Chris Dempsey's an extremely humble guy too.
All you had to do
he would go and shake your hand and say, "How do you take a picture with you?"
All you had to do was plunk down a couple of bucks, go to Stage AE, Gladiators of the Cage, watch a guy fight, or wherever he was fighting, on the local level, on the regional level.
I like to think that all of our Pittsburgh guys are like that. Even when Cody No Love Garbrandt came back to Pittsburgh to watch Pinnacle, I think it was 7, he was still a very approachable guy. And I think that's one of the things that the Allegheny area is going to be known for when our guys do hit the main stage.
He was.
It's how attainable they are.
When we walked up and we were able to, we pulled him aside and interviewed him the one time that we were in the first Pinnacle card that we went to, that we covered. He was very gracious, very nice guy. Now, speaking of, let's go to our next and the last bout we're gonna talk about. Of course, a man that knows him all too well is Dominic the Honey Badger Mazzata. He's going to be taking on Tim Goodwin. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm getting older and the memory's not as good as it used to be. Has Mazzata fought in Pinnacle FC before?
This is his first time.
Okay, that's what I thought. This will be his debut at Pinnacle FC.
Yes. Making it that much more of a big deal. It's like watching a dog walk on its hind legs at this point, seeing a...
Yeah, because he's been a Gladiator stalwart.
He's been a Gladiators franchise fighter for a long time.
Exactly.
Same thing with Dan Kakuta. He's been a Gladiators franchise fighter. The good news is the contention in Pittsburgh MMA has become a harmonious almost organism. Like, fighters are going to come and go.
Right.
And there are 2 great avenues to see great fights. If this were a couple years ago, I think it would be a little more, it'd be like a scandal almost. But the opportunities are there. Guys are capitalizing it because they have another level that they need to reach.
Well, sure.
Dominic Mazzata continually impresses us, and I think his loss to Garbrandt was a lot more valuable than what he gave it credit for.
Right. Because
now he knew he needed to get in there and he needed to get mean. So, I think I've heard good things about Tim Goodwin, but seeing Mazzata fight is always a good time.
Definitely, I will agree with you there. I mean, it's always a level of electricity in the room.
Yep.
When
I'm in to mute my phone with my ear. Sorry if you hear the bags and stuff carrying groceries.
Oh, all right.
That's very sweet of you, man.
A husband's work is never done.
That's right. I'm a medium husband. Maybe not.
Tell Mrs. Lynn we all said hi.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll tell her. Hi, Mrs. Lynn.
Listen, that would mean I have to communicate, and I find the key to a successful relationship is a lack of communication. Like, the less you know, the better. Like, it sets the bar so low that you can't be disappointed. Like, oh, he moved on? Okay, I didn't know that.
I would like to go ahead and put it up.
I'm not saying...
TV is not responsible for any failed relationships or marriages that are ending. Watch at your own risk.
I'm not saying shit.
Hey, wait a minute. Why are you allowed to say?
I don't know. Your phone just cut out, so.
All right.
I haven't said it once today.
All right. Well,
we're gonna wrap up this segment.
Pinnacle FC, May 9th, Canonsburg, PA. Are we gonna be there?
Yes.
We are gonna be there.
Yes.
I better make my babysitting plans out because I forgot we were gonna be there.
Where am I gonna be?
Pinnacle.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. Oh man, let me tell you what I have to go through to be there that day, though. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it. Do we really want to? Do we really want to hear
this? Go wear a dumb cap and gown that day. Drive halfway to where Pinnacle will be at. Then I have to drive back to this area where I'm at, and then drive back to Pinnacle. So lovely, huh?
Very.
Yeah. We make for a long day. All to move a stupid tassel left to right or right to left or whatever it is.
Yeah, because who needs an education, right?
I don't. It was a waste of money.
Moving on!
Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking about...
Rob Lynn, ladies and gentlemen, just a wonderful role model for impressionable youth out there. So kids, stay in school. Stay in school. And don't do drugs.
Don't be John Jones.
Don't be John Jones.
Yeah.
Be smart. Be educated. Keep your nose away from the cocaine. And what other stuff?
We've completely lost the rails here at Cage Nation TV.
We're going to be talking about the sweet science next. Going to be moving away from MMA to talking about boxing. And one bout in particular, we'll tell you which one, which you probably already know because everybody else is talking about it. Coming up next on Cage Nation TV.
Cage Nation TV is brought to you by Lion Country's Rock Station 105.9 Quick Rock. Streaming worldwide at 1059quickrock.com.
Welcome back to Cage Nation TV. Our final segment talking about, well, we're going to get away from MMA, mixed martial arts, the combat sports. Well, it's still combat.
It's still combat sports.
It's the sweet science of boxing. And, of course, with last night's much touted Floyd Money Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao fight, the question on the table right now is boxing, and because boxing's been pretty much under the radar more or less, unless you've got a major fight, a major bout between two heavy hitters, two excellent contenders. You really don't hear much about boxing. Is boxing any closer to coming off the life support?
From what I've heard about Pacquiao versus Mayweather, and again, I didn't get to watch it, and I didn't get to see it either. I kind of asked Rob.
I missed your question. I'm sorry.
Is boxing any closer to coming off of life support?
Yeah. I think that boxing is close to coming off of life support. In my mind, boxing still is a viable sport, and I understand that the UFC has taken a bunch of that momentum. However, boxing, there are people that will not change, and it's a generational thing, perhaps. Me, personally, I do enjoy watching boxing fights. But there's always going to be those individuals that would prefer to see boxing over mixed martial arts. And those avenues will always still be there because please think of this also. Are there kickboxing matches still taking place?
In Virginia. I know that.
Are there Muay Thai matches still taking place?
The Glory Fights promotion.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're on a worldwide level. You know, boxing and kickboxing are very, very much alive, and let's not just live in the shelter of the northeastern area of the U.S.
Right.
I mean, you know, you go to Mexico, you go to Europe, boxing's legit.
Boxing, I have one major problem with boxing in North America.
Don King.
Well, he's his own train wreck. Him and John Jones need to get together and just like have coffee or something.
No, they don't.
But here's my problem with boxing in North America. It's so extremely difficult to get in there and follow it because boxing has 5 different regulatory bodies. 5 major sources of championships that say we are the best. So at any given time, there are 5 different heavyweight champions who say they are the best in the world. How do I know which promotion, who to follow? How do I know how they've been ranked? Where's the investment? Why should I watch this fight? The high-profile fights are great, but they come along once every 6 months.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you that the big knockout boxing promotion, I think they're doing it right.
For the former
bare knuckle boxing.
Okay.
I think they're doing everything right with getting boxing noticed again. Because I know that there was a lot of guys in Pittsburgh, and I know Matt Layshawk trained a guy who was on the last big knockout boxing card. That was a big deal. That's the kind of stuff that I need to be able to go to one source and know why these fights are relevant, as opposed to trying to find out everything from every different way.
All right, well, here's a two-part question.
Albert, you have that same problem with MMA now, though.
We know the best.
The UFC is the king. We know the
Yes.
UFC is the king of mixed martial arts.
Yes, we know that Chris Weidman is the best middleweight in the world.
He's the best middleweight in the UFC.
But if the UFC is the biggest in the world, and Chris Weidman's the best middleweight in the UFC, does that not, by proxy, make him the best middleweight in the world?
That's MMA math.
That's not MMA math. That's the UFC having market share as the best. They get the best fighters. So if the Chris Weidman
It's all speculation. It's speculation.
Oh.
Look, I'm not saying that Chris Weidman isn't, but he's the best in the UFC. He hasn't proven himself amongst the other MMA organizations, the larger ones. And I know there aren't very many, and I know the pickings are slim.
If you put Chris Weidman against the best middleweight in Bellator, you know that Chris Weidman's going to be better than that guy.
I don't know that. I suspect that.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, I'll give you that.
Looking at this from a purely scientific standpoint, I don't know. I'm saying that there's more than one MMA promotion.
Right.
There's more than one, de facto ranking organization for mixed martial artists. It's the same damn thing going on in boxing. Now, granted, it's much to our chagrin about boxing because it's been going on for so long, and no one has a clue of how we rank anyone. And the reason last night's fight was so damn important is because everybody knows Manny Mayweather is probably one of the best, if not the best, technical boxer on the planet.
Last night,
they also know that he can't read, and they also know that he's not very good in relationships.
Last night drew so many people because we knew that Floyd Mayweather was a highly ranked fighter meeting another highly ranked
They don't
fighter.
have gate numbers yet.
No, it was ridiculous.
Okay, I want to know the gate. I want to know how many pay-per-view buys there were. Even at $90 for the pay-per-view. I mean, it's incredible. No, I think boxing isn't on life support as much as it's made out to be. I think that MMA has stolen a lot of its heyday. I think that's for the better because, we learn more. We learn that in a warring society, I guess, that there's more to a fight than just battering each other with, red and blue gloves or whatever. That there's more realism to it. Like, you look at the marketing scheme of the UFC, as real as it gets. It's not quite there, but it's as close as you can get without going to jail.
Right.
All right, well, here's a two-part question for you guys then. What's wrong with the product, and how do promoters fix it?
To me...
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm walking from my garage to my house here. What was that again?
What's wrong with the product, and how do promoters fix it? Is there anything wrong with the product, in your opinion?
In boxing?
Yeah.
Okay. Cecil People. I'd say he's a problem. The the Nevada State Athletic Commission, that's a problem with boxing. I think corruption is a problem with boxing. Anytime there is need to be made, there will be, and it's sad. I think we will see it in the EC. I think we will see a level of corruption that, it'll rival boxing. And it's doomed to happen because
My problem with boxing is it's so impossibly hard to follow. In mixed martial arts, we pretty much agree on rankings within, I think, 2 degrees of error. I think we can agree on the same 10 names. I think we might disagree on where they're placed exactly.
Right.
But we have an idea who those 10 fighters are. Boxing, I have no idea who those 10 fighters are, and I have no idea where to go to get that information. I think De La Hoya had a great idea with his Golden Boy Promotions. Same thing with Mike Tyson's Iron Mike Productions, trying to get the promotion to be the big name as opposed to the fighters' names being the draw.
what I was saying about the problem that we have a lot with boxing is corruption. Okay, there's a lot of corruption in boxing, and anytime there's money to be made on something, then there's going to be people to corrupt. They go hand in hand. And I think that eventually, okay, so this isn't even actually answering your question. It's posing a new variable to it, and I apologize for this, but I think it'll happen to the UFC too. I think you will see MMA take that turn. I mean, look at Pride. Pride was fully corrupted. I would like to think that our product, MMA, the UFC, has a bit more integrity, but at the same time, I'm not so sure that we can say that it will have lasting integrity.
I honestly can't intelligently defend UFC integrity considering how much they protected John Jones. And that's just me being a little jaded.
I get it.
That's just me being a little jaded. I think De La Hoya and Mike Tyson are doing the right things with trying to get the promotion. Big knockout boxing. I think the way that you get more interest and more people to follow boxing as it is to kind of create the brand name as opposed to, we have this fighter versus this fighter. Those two go very, very well when they're partnered, but I think having that one source of information, to me anyway, is extremely valuable.
No, and I think that's an excellent point, because what you would have then is, okay, well, put it this way. How many people go, I'm looking forward to the next Bellator card? Yeah, the true fans of MMA do, but for the most part, people watch one MMA promotion. They watch UFC.
Right.
So having a boxing outlet where they could watch, the main fights in boxing would be welcome to them. Having one organizing body.
It's the reason why MMA is synonymous with ultimate fighting, especially in the 90s.
Well, I trained UFC, bro. Just bleed. Remember that.
Just bleed.
All right, so what would make you guys watch boxing more? What one specific time? You got about a little under 3 minutes for this one.
Well, I want to see big fights. I want to see title unification. I want to be able to go, this guy is the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be able to go that definitively this is the largest division champion, that he has beaten everyone. I want to be able to see that there's the guy who is fighting all comers, unifying the belts, and I want to see, and I know it's terrible, okay, because before I said about with MMA, you have multiple organizations with title belts, and it's similar in boxing because you have the promoters that have fighters ranked by these organizations, but it would be nice to see maybe the organizations not so much ranked like the WBO, IBF, things like that. It'd be nice to see them maybe go away.
Oh, yeah.
And just be the promotional thing, like I'm the champion of this promotion. And then you know what? The biggest promotion is who has the best champion. Because as Albert alluded, we talk about Chris Blackman. We say that he is the best because he fights for the best promotion there is. And it's assumed that the best talent is in the best promotion.
Right.
Rob, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, all these promotions, like if you and I were to start a boxing promotion today, we'd have to agree on, okay, well, which sanctioning body do we fight under? Do we fight under the WBO? Do we fight under the IBF? Okay, so then we have to subscribe to one of 5 theories of who the best boxing organization is. Right now, right there, we've added 2 degrees of convolution. So, I mean,
we're making, if we start a boxing promotion, we're making 2 calls. We're calling Matt Layshock and we're calling Tommy Will.
Yeah.
We're asking them for a lot of questions.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying is, like, just in you and I deciding that we're going to start a promotion, and then we have to subscribe to a sanctioning body, we added 2 degrees of convolution. And then we're going to add Drew's promotion. We're going to add Matt Layshock's promotion. We're going to add the Penn State promotion, and they're going to subscribe to 5 different theories there. So now we have a stable of fighters over 10 different promotions, over 5 different sanctioning bodies. It is nearly impossible to keep track of who's the best, who's next in for a title shot, who's the undisputed king. That is the core of my issue.
All right.
I'll give you that.
Okay. So, but I mean, congratulations to Floyd Money Mayweather for beating Manny Pacquiao. I'm told that fight was extremely boring, and
I called it. Did I not call it?
You did, and I think
that the fight was going to be extremely boring?
No, I said I want Pacquiao to win.
They're just 3 minutes.
However, Floyd's defensive boxing is very, very, very good.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Pacquiao will be able to outdo his defensive boxing. And for once in my life, I was right.
I made the comment that if Floyd Mayweather won, there was going to be controversy behind it. Lo and behold.
Bada-bing.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this edition of Cage Nation TV for another week. We will talk to you.
Hey, we're throwing out a plug. I know that maybe a lot of our people aren't going to want to pick up a book and read it. I received my copy of The Professor in the Cage by Jonathan Gottschall.
Well, Rob, I'm actually very glad you said that, because Cage Nation...
I'm almost done with it. I'm about 30 pages from the end, and it's pretty damn good, and it's very well written. I suggest you get it, and I'm not just saying this because it memorializes that I am devilishly handsome in this book. He does have that in there. I'm not saying this because my photos are in here. Those are just bonuses to add to the fact that it's a good book.
Well, John Gottschall actually gave us a copy to give away to the Cage Nation. We're just trying to figure out how we wanted to do that. Right now, we are giving away a signed Cage Nation TV sticker signed by Charlie the Spaniard Brenneman. You want to go to our Facebook page, share the picture, and then we're drawing a winner this coming Wednesday. But then we do have a copy of The Professor in the Cage by Jonathan Gottschall.
Let's do the same thing with that.
Fair enough.
We'll post a picture of the book, and you can share that. We'll do that starting after we give away the signed sticker, Charlie the Brenneman. So we'll do that. We'll start that contest this Wednesday, and
I agree with you, Rob. That is a really good book. I've been reading.
You read it?
I've been reading it. I'm a couple pages into the first chapter. I just picked it up yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you need to sit down and finish it.
Yes, sir.
Mine will be completed today.
Fantastic.
all right, on that note, we're going to wrap things up. Next time we talk to you, we'll be talking to you about Pinnacle FC May 9th. This, as we tape this coming Saturday?
Yep.
In Canonsburg, PA. It's going to be a great bout, as we've touched upon a few of the fights that are going to be on that card. Do not miss that, all right? Get your tickets now and be there in Canonsburg for this great night of action. For Albert Cameron, for Rob Lynn, I'm Drew Shannon. This has been another episode of Cage Nation TV. We will see you next time.
Let's go.